Have you ever spoken without thinking, only to realize later that your words had hurt those you care about the most? As we grow older, we may not always recognize how deeply our words can shape or damage family relationships. The things we say to our children and loved ones can leave lasting impressions, influencing our bonds for years to come. In today's discussion, I want to share 5 valuable lessons about the words we choose and how understanding their impact can help us build stronger, more harmonious family connections. By avoiding certain phrases, we can prevent regret and foster a loving environment that brings peace and warmth to our lives. Before we dive in, I would appreciate it if you could support this message by liking and sharing this discussion. If you haven't yet subscribed, I encourage you to do so and turn on notifications so that you won't miss any future insights. If you find value in what we discussed today, let me know by commenting with a simple number 1. If you think there's room for improvement, comment with 0, and I will make sure to refine my approach to better serve you. Let's get started. Many years ago, I often said to my family, I have my own money and my children don't need to take care of me. It was something I firmly believed. After all, isn't financial independence a good thing? An old saying reminds us that wealthy parents can give their children everything except eternal life. This wisdom holds a profound truth. While money is undoubtedly important, it can never replace human connection and emotional support. When I was younger, I took great pride in my independence. My husband and I had worked hard in government service, ensuring financial stability through careful savings and wise investments. We wanted to build a future where we wouldn't have to rely on our children. When our son got married, we gladly used our savings to help him purchase a home. At that time, it felt like the right thing to do, our parental responsibility. I was happy to provide that support, thinking that once we had done our part, my husband and I could continue enjoying our lives without burdening our children. With this mindset, we planned our retirement around freedom and adventure. We wanted to travel, explore, and experience life on our own terms. I even told my daughter-in-law, "We have enough. You don't have to worry about us." It was meant to reassure them, to give them space to live their own lives. However, I didn't realize that these words, though well-intended, were also building an invisible barrier between us. When my grandchild was born, I decided not to interfere in their family matters. I believed that parenting was their responsibility, and I didn't want to impose. My daughter-in-law, however, seemed hurt by this decision, and tension slowly crept into our relationship. Friends and neighbors advised me to reconsider, to think about the long-term importance of family ties. But my husband and I remained steadfast in our plan. We had arranged for caregivers should we ever need assistance in our old age. For years, everything seemed to go smoothly. Our lives were comfortable and our independence was intact. But then, life took an unexpected turn. 2 years ago, my husband passed away suddenly from a stroke. The loss shattered my world. I had prepared for financial security, but nothing had prepared me for the deep loneliness that followed. Suddenly, the large house that had once felt like a symbol of our success felt empty and lifeless. I realized that despite all our planning, I had overlooked one crucial element: the emotional bonds that hold a family together. My son had his own responsibilities, and my daughter-in-law, though polite, maintained a certain distance. The resentment from years ago still lingered, and I could not blame her for it. My decision to prioritize financial independence over emotional connection had created a gap that was difficult to bridge. I followed through with my original plan and hired help to assist me, but I soon realized that no amount of money could replace the warmth and presence of family. As expenses continued to rise, I found myself struggling, not financially, but emotionally. The love, laughter, and connection I had once taken for granted were now missing, and the silence in my home was deafening. Looking back, I now understand the depth of the old wisdom that says children are a blessing and family ties are the greatest treasures. I remember my neighbor, Grandma Berrien, who would often say, "It doesn't matter if we are rich or poor, as long as my children are around me, I am happy." Back then, I dismissed her words, thinking they were sentimental and outdated. But now, I see the truth in them. We spend our lives working hard to provide for our families, believing that financial stability is the ultimate goal. But in the end, the most precious thing we can have is the love and companionship of our family. No amount of money can substitute the feeling of belonging, of being surrounded by those who truly care about us. One of the biggest lessons I have learned is to never assume that we will always be self-sufficient. It's easy to say, "I won't need my children's help," but in doing so, we may unknowingly push them away. Even words spoken with good intentions can create unnecessary distance. True relationships are not built on financial support alone. They require effort, emotional investment, and an open heart. If I could go back in time, I would have chosen my words more carefully. Instead of emphasizing financial independence, I would have focused on maintaining emotional closeness with my children. I would have found ways to be more involved in their lives, not just as a provider, but as a loving presence. Now, I share my story so that others may learn from my mistakes and cherish their family bonds before it's too late. So, as we reflect on our own lives, let's take a moment to think about the words we use with our loved ones. Are we unintentionally creating distance? Are we prioritizing material wealth over emotional connection? It's never too late to change our approach, to reach out, and to strengthen the ties that truly matter. Because in the end, the greatest treasure we have is not money, but the love and unity of our family. Love, compassion, and mutual understanding are the foundations of a fulfilling life. As I navigate the journey of aging, I have come to realize that true wealth is not measured in money, but in the quality of time spent with loved ones. The warmth of family, the bonds we share, and the love we give and receive are what bring genuine meaning to life. In my younger years, I often believed financial security was the key to happiness. However, with time, I learned that relationships are the real treasure, and nurturing them is the most valuable investment one can make. If you are still here, engaging with this message, I would love to hear your thoughts. Please comment below to let me know you are watching. Your time is precious, and I deeply appreciate it. One important lesson I have learned over the years is the significance of discussing financial matters with our children. There is an old saying, "Money is like fire. If controlled, it brings warmth and comfort, but if left unchecked, it can cause destruction." Wealth does not guarantee a happy family, nor does the lack of it signify an unhappy home. What truly defines a family's harmony is the love, trust, and understanding cultivated over time. Throughout my life, I have seen families thrive and others fall apart due to financial misunderstandings. One story that left a lasting impact on me was that of my friend, Uncle Pran. He was a man of great kindness and dedication, always prioritizing his children's future. He worked tirelessly to save money, ensuring they had access to education and opportunities. Even after retirement, he remained frugal, believing his savings would secure his family's unity and happiness. However, as he grew older, uncertainty about his future began to trouble him. He decided to discuss his financial plans with his children, explaining that he had savings set aside. He believed this transparency would reassure them and bring them closer as a family. In an attempt to ensure his care, he offered his wealth to whichever child took him in. His eldest son, Note, eagerly stepped forward, welcoming his father into his home. Initially, everything seemed perfect, but over time, things began to change. Nout started requesting financial assistance, first for small household needs, then for larger investments. Uncle Pran, wanting to support his son, continued to give without hesitation. Slowly, his savings dwindled. When the money ran out, so did the warmth in their relationship. Nout grew distant, questioning whether his father truly had no money left. What once was a bond of love turned into suspicion and resentment. Feeling abandoned, Uncle Prawn turned to his other children for support, but they remained indifferent. In their eyes, he had already entrusted everything to Nout, and they felt no responsibility to intervene. In the end, he found himself alone in his most vulnerable years, regretting the choices he had made. He once told me, "I believed that by being open about my finances, I was securing my family's future. But instead, it became the very thing that tore us apart." His words have stayed with me, serving as a powerful lesson. Money should never come before relationships. It is important to manage finances wisely, but equally crucial is how we communicate and distribute them. A well-planned financial future ensures peace of mind, but one must also keep a portion aside for personal security. This is not selfishness. It is a way to preserve dignity and prevent unnecessary conflicts. A secure parent brings stability to the entire family. If you find this insight valuable, please share your thoughts in the comments. Let Uncle Pran's story serve as a reminder. Protect not just your wealth, but also your relationships. Money should be a tool for support, not a source of division. By handling it wisely, we safeguard both our dignity and our family's harmony. Another lesson that has shaped my understanding of family life is the importance of acceptance. There is a saying, "A family filled with love is a family filled with happiness." A home should be a place of comfort, where each member feels valued and supported. However, when we dwell on past mistakes, hold grudges, or impose unrealistic expectations, we create barriers that separate us from those we love. Over time, these invisible walls grow taller, leading to isolation and regret. Having lived for over 7 decades, I have witnessed countless family stories, some filled with love, while others were strained by misunderstandings. One story that remains close to my heart is that of my friend Dinu and his son, Bangong. Their journey taught me the profound impact of unconditional love and the unintended consequences of expectations. Dinu was a proud father who had high hopes for his children. Like many parents, he believed that success was defined by status, financial achievements, and social recognition. However, his son Bangong was different. Unlike his cousins who pursued prestigious careers, Bangong chose a simple life. He found joy in creativity, preferring to follow his passions rather than chase wealth. Dinu struggled to accept this. He constantly compared his son to others, asking, "Why can't you be more like your cousins?" He failed to see that happiness is not one size fits all. The more he pressured Bangong, the more distant their relationship became. What was once a bond of love turned into a cycle of disappointment and frustration. Years passed, and as Dinu aged, he found himself longing for the closeness he once shared with his son. One day, he had a moment of realization. His love for Bangong should not be conditional upon his achievements. He reached out to his son, not with expectations, but with acceptance. To his surprise, Bangong welcomed him with open arms, relieved that his father finally saw him for who he truly was. This story is a reminder that love is not about shaping someone into what we expect them to be. It is about embracing them as they are. Family bonds should not be built on comparisons or conditions. Instead, they should be nurtured with understanding, patience, and respect. If this resonates with you, I would love to hear your perspective. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Life is too short to let misunderstandings create distance between us and those we hold dear. True happiness comes from cherishing each other despite our differences. As we grow older, let us remember that love, compassion, and mutual understanding are the greatest gifts we can give and receive. Treasure your relationships, communicate openly, and let kindness be the foundation of your interactions. In the end, it is not wealth or status that defines our legacy. It is the love we leave behind in the hearts of those we touch. There once was a young man named Bang Gong, whose life was simple and unembellished. Unlike others who had pursued higher education and built prestigious careers, he had modest aspirations. Though he lacked a high-paying job or an impressive academic background, he was diligent, honest, and kind. However, in his father Thanu's eyes, none of that was enough. Time and time again, Thanu compared Bangong to his more accomplished relatives, questioning why he couldn't follow in their footsteps. "Why can't you be like your cousins?" Thanu would ask. "Look at them. They have stable jobs, earn well, and bring pride to their families. Why do you always have to struggle?" Although these words were spoken out of concern, they only deepened the wounds in Bangong's heart. No matter how much effort he put in, he felt it was never enough to satisfy his father. I remember a conversation I once had with Bangong when he confided in me. He said, "I've spent my entire life trying to make my father proud, but no matter what I do, it's never enough. He only sees my failures, never my efforts." The weight of disappointment grew heavier each day until Bangong made a life-altering decision. He left his hometown and moved to Bangkok, hoping that forging his own path would finally prove his worth. Yet, despite the physical distance, the emotional gap between father and son only widened. Each time Bangong called home, he faced the same scrutiny. "Is that all you're earning?" Thanu would ask. "When will you finally become successful?" Each conversation felt like a blade, cutting deeper into Bangong's heart. Eventually, the pain became unbearable, and Bangong stopped calling altogether. As the years passed, the silence between them grew louder, creating an unbridgeable chasm. Meanwhile, Thanu aged. His once robust body weakened, and his authoritative voice softened. But more than anything, it was the absence of his son that weighed on him the most. One evening, as we sat together, he sighed deeply and confessed, "I only wanted my son to have a better life. I thought I was guiding him toward success, but now I see that all I did was push him away." His voice was filled with sadness and regret, regret for words he could never take back and a time that could never be recovered. "I don't need him to be a wealthy businessman or a high-ranking officer. I just want to see him again." Realizing his mistakes, Thanu picked up a pen and wrote a heartfelt letter to his son. In it, he poured out the words he had never been able to say in person. "My dear Bangong, for so many years I judged you by the wrong standards. I wanted you to become what I envisioned rather than accepting you for who you truly are. I see now that I was wrong. You do not need to be perfect. In my eyes, you are already the most admirable child in the world. I only have one wish, to see you again and tell you that I love you just as you are." This story serves as a poignant reminder of what truly matters in family. Love should never be conditional, nor should it be weighed against unrealistic comparisons. Parents may believe they are guiding their children toward success, but sometimes they fail to see the value in who their children already are. The strength of a family does not lie in perfection, but in unconditional love and acceptance. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons meaningful, please comment number 2 below to let me know you are here with me. I truly appreciate your valuable time. There is an old saying, "What's done is done. Let it go with the wind." This simple yet profound wisdom reminds us of the importance of moving forward instead of dwelling on past mistakes, especially within our families. Reopening old wounds does not heal them. It only deepens the divide between loved ones. Families thrive on love, forgiveness, and understanding, not on keeping track of past wrongs like weights that burden the heart. At my age, over 70, I have witnessed and experienced many hardships, a lifetime of sorrow, regret, and disappointment. But through it all, I have learned one invaluable lesson. Sometimes, silence and forgiveness are the greatest gifts we can offer to our family. Constantly reminding others of past mistakes only serves to drive them further away. I remember an old friend, Usa. She was an intelligent woman, a dedicated teacher, and a strict mother. Her husband, Chan, was her opposite, gentle, kind-hearted, and loving, though not particularly skilled in communication. Together, they raised two sons who grew up and started families of their own. Despite their success, tension always filled their home whenever they visited. The reason? USA had a habit of bringing up the past, reviving old conflicts that should have long been forgotten. One afternoon, as I sat with her drinking tea, she suddenly sighed and began recounting past grievances. She spoke about how her older brother had wasted their mother's hard-earned money by dropping out of university after just 1 year. She lamented how her younger sister had borrowed money for her wedding, but never repaid it despite her improved financial situation. As I listened, I noticed something heartbreaking. Her children, who had been in the house earlier, had slowly disappeared from the room. Her eldest son, who had been sipping tea quietly, excused himself and stepped outside. Her younger son, who had been watching television, lowered the volume and eventually left the house altogether. This was not the first time I had witnessed this reaction. Her sons still visited her out of duty, but there was an emotional distance between them. They rarely stayed long or engaged in meaningful conversations. It was as if an invisible wall had formed between them, brick by brick, built with every painful reminder of the past that USA refused to let go of. Her husband, Chan, had often tried to reason with her. "USA," he would say, "bringing up old issues won't change the past, but it will hurt our children. Let it go." But she never listened. Perhaps she believed that by reminding her children of past mistakes, she was teaching them important lessons. Perhaps she thought she was protecting them from repeating the same errors. But in reality, she was pushing them further and further away. Then one day life took an unexpected turn for USA. She had always been strong, self-reliant, and determined. But life has a way of teaching lessons when we least expect them. When she fell seriously ill and had to be hospitalized for several months, she had more time than ever to reflect on her past choices. Her children ensured she had the best medical care, sending money for treatments and making occasional visits. But the warmth she had once known was absent. The home that was once filled with laughter and lively conversations now felt empty. Gone were the deep discussions at the dinner table, the affectionate long visits, and the sense of closeness she once took for granted. Lying in that hospital bed, surrounded only by her thoughts, she finally recognized the price she had paid for holding on to the past. One evening, as I sat beside her, she looked at me with weary eyes and said, "I always thought that reminding my children of their past mistakes would help them learn important lessons, but all I did was push them away. Now, all I want is to have them close, to see them happy by my side, but I fear it may be too late." Her words left a deep impact on me. There's an old saying that a harmonious family brings true happiness. Holding on to past grudges doesn't make us stronger. It isolates us. When we allow old wounds to control our present relationships, we build walls that separate us from the people who matter most. In the end, we find ourselves standing alone, longing for the connection we once had. Life is too short to waste on resentment. If we truly wish to keep our loved ones close, we must learn to forgive, to understand, and most importantly, to let go. The past cannot be changed, but the love and kindness we nurture today can create a future filled with warmth and connection. If you're still watching this video and find these insights meaningful, please comment the number 3 below. I'd love to know that you're with me on this journey of learning and reflection. Harsh words can deeply wound the people we love. There is an old saying, warm words can drive away the chill of winter, but harsh words can freeze the heart for a lifetime. Words, though invisible and intangible, hold immense power. They can heal, comfort, and strengthen relationships, but they can also leave scars that never truly fade. A single moment of anger, a careless remark, or an unkind statement can create rifts that take years or even an entire lifetime to mend. Having lived for over 70 years, I have seen countless examples of how words shape family relationships. One of the most painful stories I ever encountered was that of my old friend, Grandma W. She was a determined woman, but her harsh words left wounds within her family that never fully healed. When she was younger, Grandma W had a daughter named Mime, the youngest of her children. Unlike her older brothers, who had the opportunity to pursue higher education, Mime stayed home to assist with household chores. While her brothers advanced in their careers, Mame remained behind, silently shouldering responsibilities. Perhaps because of this, Grandma W always saw her as inferior. She never hesitated to compare Mame unfavorably to her brothers, and whenever she was displeased, she would lash out, saying things like, "You're not as capable as your brothers. Others are doing better than you," or "You're just a burden." Mame never retaliated. She carried the pain of those words in silence, internalizing feelings of unworthiness. Still, she remained devoted to her family, always striving to care for her parents. Even after getting married, she continued to visit and help. But Grandma W's nature did not change. She constantly criticized Mime's husband, comparing him to others and lamenting that he had no bright future. These relentless criticisms, like sharp knives, created a slow but inevitable emotional distance between mother and daughter. Years passed, and as old age crept upon Grandma W, loneliness took its toll. Her health declined, and she longed for the closeness she once took for granted. Lying in bed, frail and weary, she finally admitted the painful truth. "I was wrong. I always believed I had the right to criticize my children because they were mine. I thought my words would push you to do better, but I didn't realize they were only hurting you. Now, even though you are here, taking care of me, I see that your heart has changed. The warmth in your eyes is gone. I have lost something precious." Her regret came too late. While Mime still fulfilled her duties as a daughter, the emotional bond had been eroded over the years. The damage had been done, and no amount of apology could fully erase the pain built up over a lifetime. Grandma W's story carries a painful but invaluable lesson. We must be mindful of the words we speak, especially to those we love. A home is meant to be a place of love, not a battleground for harsh criticism. Words spoken in anger do not build strength. They create wounds that take years to heal, if they heal at all. As we grow older, we realize that true wealth is not found in material success or even in the achievements of our children. It is found in the love and warmth that hold a family together. A home where kind words are spoken becomes a haven, a place where relationships flourish and hearts are nurtured. The lesson I want to leave you with today is simple yet profound. Choose your words wisely. A single harsh remark can leave a scar, while a kind word has the power to uplift, to heal, and to bring joy. In the end, it is not wealth, status, or success that defines a family. It is the love and understanding shared between its members. After listening to these stories and reflections, what resonated with you the most? What is something you will take to heart and practice in your own life? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I read each and every one of them. If you found this video valuable, please leave a comment and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's continue spreading love and wisdom, strengthening our families one step at a time. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.